She's just given another interview, and I can bring that to you right now.
In particular, it was an off-the-cuff remark after the news interview had finished, or apparently after it had finished. And I'd like to apologise for my choice language there. That was unnecessary. But it was an off-the-cuff remark, basically, you know, based on the interview. The interview had been pressing me quite hard, you know, why I hadn't solved this issue, which had been going on since 1994. You know, it is frustrating because we're doing everything now to take a leading position, to be on the front foot, to put all of the support in place that responsible bodies and schools need. And it's also frustrating that we've got some questionnaires that are still not there. We've been chasing and chasing them. So we've just written again today to say you need to get your questionnaires in by the end of the week. Now, I understand because obviously the evidence has changed, but you need to be able to move quickly when you get new evidence. So that is something that, yeah, I apologise for the language, but it is something that I'm very keen to make progress on.
I mean, you apologise for the language, but it showed you're frustrated and that you think some people aren't doing enough. I mean, is it councils? Is it your predecessor here at the Department for Education?
No,
is it the Prime Minister?
No, it's not. It's nobody in particular. But, you know, we've had a change of evidence, which has happened very, very recently. And that's where we've had ceilings, which are graded as uncritical, non-critical, so you could keep them in action, where there have been failed panels. Now, that means that we need to find out where they all are. Now, we've done a really good job, the department and everybody, we've been working really hard on this. We've done a really good job at identifying 156, but we've still got, and we've got more surveys to do where we've had the questionnaires back, so we're working on those the next 2 weeks, but we've still got some questionnaires we need to get back. And without that, we can't really make the first step. No, it's whoever it is, anybody who can give us the questionnaires back would be very gratefully received. To be fair, the evidence has changed very recently. It was only last Thursday.
And who's to blame for that? You're obviously frustrated with someone.
Actually, it was the interviewer, because the interviewer was making out it was all my fault. So, and that's what I was saying. Do you ever go into these interviews where everyone ever says anything but, you know, you've just done a terrible job? And he was basically saying, you know, all these things. I mean, you know, he mentioned 1994, he mentioned 2018. I mean, they were all, you know.
It's partly because he'd done a lot of work, huge FOI back in March, so it wasn't new information in August.
No, it wasn't new. The new information was the 3 cases that came to light over the summer. So way after his freedom of information, it was new information that came to light where those that are assessed as non-critical, there were panels that failed, and we were able, well, I was able to send in our structural chartered surveyors, and they went in and said, yes, these are assessed as non-critical, and they've failed. That's new. That's why we've changed the advice. It's very recent, and I do understand, by the way, the frustration for parents and for children. But safety has to come first. And when you have that happening, you have to act on it. Now I need everybody else to, you know, to give me all the information I need so I can make sure that we can mitigate the situation and minimise the disruption on children's education.
And just on the other part of what you said, which also had some coarse language, you said people should thank you for doing an effing good job.
Well, not me, but the department. The department, I mean, we've been working... You know,
what should they thank you for, in your opinion?
Well, because the department's taken a leadership role. So it's not normally the department that would go, you know, ordering porter cabins, speaking to utility companies, arranging surveyors directly. Usually that would all be the job of responsible bodies. But because we've wanted to support them and because we wanted to be proactive and because we wanted to reduce the time, we've done a lot of work. So we've got, you know, we've got 3 suppliers, we've got porter cabins lined up. We've been working all over.
Your responsibility.
I mean, we have a joint responsibility. Obviously, the responsible bodies are responsible for school buildings. But, you know, I take my role very seriously. All I need is for everybody, now we've got this new information, new evidence, to be working at pace so we can make really, really good progress on all of the schools.
So sorry for the language, but essentially you did mean what you said.
I am sorry for the language, and I didn't mean it at anyone in particular. I was actually frustrated with the interviewer because he was kind of making out it was all my fault. But I think the most important thing is we have new evidence, we have to make progress, and I worry about this. I mean, you know, I haven't slept all night worrying about this. I do worry about it because I do want to make sure that we can understand where all the rack is, get the surveyors in, get it mitigated as soon as possible.
OK, all right, so that's Gillian Keegan there, who is the Education Secretary and full-time potty mouth, although it's fair to say that the reaction has actually been quite positive to her swearing on telly. Look, just quickly, she was saying that she was frustrated with the interview for hammering her for a problem that started in 1994. She was also quite clearly making the point there that maybe schools could have been a bit more proactive. It's not just the government, it's not just her who's been dragging her feet on this. Also, as well, people, well, how many education secretaries have we had since 1994, basically, is the kind of the point that she was making, and she feels passionate about it, and she's doing her best. So there we go. She's done her best to explain that situation, if indeed she needed to.